guys, welcome back, and happy new year. I know we have been gone for quite some time, but we are back and we are ready to give you the content that you have been waiting for. My name is Tumilo Eto. I am a property analyst here at Vantage Properties, and today we're going to be discussing the steps and processes of buying your first home. The first thing that you need to look at is your affordability. Can you actually afford to buy a house? This looks at your income, your debt, and your savings. Your budget as well is very important. So your budget will actually inform how much you should save. It will tell you if you're willing to buy a house of 600,000 pula or of a million pula, then you know that you're supposed to save at least 10% for your deposit. That means saving for 600,000, that means saving 60,000 pula. For a million, that means saving 100,000 pula. Why am I saying you should save? You need to save so that you have some sort of equity, so that you can access more banks. Especially in this economy, banks are becoming a little stricter in terms of how much they give in terms of money. Looking at your affordability, jobs are being cut, people are affording less, so banks are becoming a little stricter when giving out loans. So you having a down payment will give you an advantage, basically. Your income, this is how much you earn. This is a time for you to look at all your income streams, combine all of that income to see how much you can actually pay for a house. It will also help you draw up a budget, because it will inform how much installments you are willing to pay every month, especially if you're taking a loan. Your debt, clear up unnecessary debt, guys. This is very important. Cleaning up your unnecessary debt. Your RTC scorecard your RTC report actually will help you to see where you need to clean up. This is in terms of your credit history. Banks look at your credit history. Have you been paying your previous creditors well on time? Do you actually pay them? You know, such things. So it's very important to look at all those things. And the next thing is to actually do your research. By research, I mean looking at the property industry. Is this the right time for you to take a loan? Is it the right time for you to actually buy a house? Looking at the market and how it's doing at that particular point in time. Look at your location as well, the locations that you want to buy in. Guys, sometimes we overlook this location thing. Why do I say we overlook it? Because guys, chances, especially if I'm a first-time home buyer, chances are that this is the house that I'm going to live in for the rest of my life. They're very slim. They are very slim. So always look at the location that you're buying in. Will it help improve your value over time? Is this a house that you can use for rental income or as an investment in future? Right now you might be buying it for accommodation and owner occupancy, but is it really going to be worth it in 10 years time, when now you've moved out and you want to rent it out? Is it? Or when you're selling it now, are you going to recover more money from what you had put in initially, or it's going to decrease in value? So it's always important to look at location, because property is location. Now the next thing would be to actually look for an estate agent. Why am I saying look for an estate agent? An estate agent will actually give you more details. They'll arrange for your viewings, because you know what, property buying, or the process of buying a property, is the most tiring and the most overwhelming thing that you will ever come across, because there are a lot of different properties. You want to go and view them all. You are getting calls left, right, and center. There's a house here. If you've advertised on Facebook, please come and take a look at it. You know, so an estate agent will help you with this process, and they can also help you to negotiate. Guys, another thing is, don't rely on the seller's estate agent, because his priority is the seller. Therefore, he or she will try and sell you the property at the highest price possible. So having your own estate agent who will put your needs before those of others is very, very important. And because they are a professional, they will give you a better understanding of certain things, how things work, and make your life so much easier. The next thing would be to look for a financer. So after looking through different houses with your estate agent, maybe you've identified that this is now the house that I want to buy. You got your offer letter from your seller, and offer letters are normally valid for a period of 7 to 14 days. So you take your letter to a financer. You could use this letter to look at different financiers to hear what they have to say in terms of the benefits they're willing to give you. Negotiate your interest rates at banks, guys, and you can get a pre-qualified loan that you can take to different banks and say, hey, FNB is willing to give me this much in terms of interest rates. How much are you willing to give me? You can negotiate all of these things, and it can actually help you to get a bargain, if I do say so myself. So look for a financer, shop around for a financer that will give you the best interest rates within a particular period of time, right? And also, because you've saved up for a deposit, like I had mentioned earlier, you're able to access more banks in general. You're able to access more banks because they will regard you as a less risky person to give a loan to. Now, once you've identified the financer or the bank, the institution that you want to get your loan from, the next thing would be to actually present them with an offer letter and say, guys, this is the house that I've chosen that I want to buy. Can you actually give me a loan looking at this house? So what they would say is, bring us a valuation report. So they would give you a list of valuers that they trust and believe that will give them the correct information about that particular house. So you can pick any valuer from that particular list and go get your valuation report. So with that valuation report, you're expected to bring it back to the bank, and once you get back to the bank, they'll say, is this property at market value? If the offer price of that property is above market value, the chances that you are going to get a loan are very slim. You're probably going to get financed maybe at 80-70%, I don't know, but you are going to be rejected most probably. And then if the offer price is below the market value, then the bank will actually give you a loan. What do I mean by market value? Is the house worth buying at that price that that is written on the offer letter? Is it worth it? So after you get your valuation and it's been approved by the bank that the price written on the offer is actually communicating with the market value, and sometimes you can actually take back the offer letter and tell the owner of the house to say, hey, renegotiate. Getting a valuation can actually help you negotiate because you understand the market value of that particular property, so it actually assists you as a person. The other thing that I'd recommend that you do is get a structural engineer to come and look for the house. Guys, I've heard a lot of complaints where a person has bought a property only to find out that it has structural defaults, because in that offer letter strictly you are buying the house as is. Therefore, those structural defaults, you cannot go back and say, hey seller, it doesn't work like that in property. Once it's been transferred, so always get a structural engineer where you can, so that it helps you make better decisions. Once you've gotten your valuation and the bank has said, okay, fine, we are willing to give you a loan, they will give you a letter of undertaking. A letter of undertaking is basically a letter of commitment by the bank that they're actually willing to give you the money to buy that specific property. Now, because you have the letter of undertaking, now it's time to go to the conveyancer. A conveyancer is a lawyer who specializes in the transfer of property. Now, this is now where the transfer of property occurs. But before the transfer occurs, your seller has to bring forth a BRS tax clearance report. Now, for them to have a tax clearance report, they have to have cleared all the water utility bills and electricity bills, if any, the rates at the council, and then they can present to you a BRS tax clearance report. After that, now the property can be lodged at the deeds registry. By lodging, we mean that they can now transfer the property, the seller's bond can now be cancelled, and your bond can be registered. So at this point, now you're basically ready. All that's left is for madi antiwe. Once all this is done, there's also transaction costs. These are transfer fees, but as a first-time home buyer, you are exempted. And if you are buying a house that is 1 million pula or less, you are exempted. But if your property is more than 1 million pula, you are exempted for the first 1 million pula, and you have to pay 5% on the remaining amount. So, for instance, if the property that you're buying is 1.5 million pula, then you have to pay 5% on the 500,000 pula that is on the side. But if you are a foreigner, you have to pay 30% of the market value of that property. Transfer duty is based on market value, guys. It is not based on the sale price. So you have to present a valuation report again at the deeds registry. At this point, your conveyancer is in constant communication with you, informing you of how the process is going and what's happening. Have they received the tax clearance reports? Is there any information that they need from you, and so forth. After all this is done and your property has been transferred, now the check of disbursement is released and given to the seller, and they can cash out their funds, or the funds are credited into their bank account. And just like that, congratulations, you are officially a property owner. This is your house, and now you can officially move in. Now, please do like and subscribe to all our social media platforms. On Twitter, at InfoVantage. On Facebook, Vantage Properties, your advantage to property. On YouTube, Vantage Properties.